Enzo. Oh, this is probably too long for a voice note.
Hey Claire, I know. Save it for the podcast.
Your space for an unfiltered and candid conversation.
Skip the small talk and dive in deep.
Hey, he's Enzo.
And she's Claire.
And this is Too Long for a Voice Note.
Hello.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
How are you?
Good. It's so exciting to film episodes back to back.
Exactly.
We keep it rolling with the episodes. I hope you're enjoying it so far.
Definitely. Thank you to everybody who's listened so far and come back for another episode.
I think we're releasing a really interesting, not to give us many flowers or something, but
toot our own horns.
But
exactly.
it's good episodes lately. But yeah. How are
Yeah.
you, Claire? How's your summer?
Fine.
Tell me,
It's all
why
good.
are you listening? I think like summer for me, it's like I always have like songs that are
Summer
like
playlist.
really like define my summer. So every
Okay.
summer I have a thing of songs that really remind me to what happened previous year. So
Okay.
what are you listening to? What's your summer playlist at the moment? Like, give me 4 or 5 songs or like artists.
Okay, 4 or 5 artists. Well, for me, when it gets sunny, I always go back to reggaeton. So
Feeling
reggaeton,
sexy.
spicy,
Yeah.
reminds me of like summer, clubbing,
Beach,
etc.
things
So
like
I've
that.
actually been listening to a lot of Raw Alejandro,
Ooh, he's
who's
making a
not one of my
comeback.
favorites, but his songs are like catchy, they feel good,
Yeah,
you know,
they feel
like
good.
kind of like
Easy.
in the gym as well, like
very
pump.
good gym music. Yeah.
Unfortunately, because we have gone off him a little bit. Also,
Yeah.
Bad Bunny,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
comes back into the playlist. Obviously, always Rosalia, she's
Rosalia
always there.
is always there for
Then
sure.
taking a departure from reggaeton, I will say Charlie XCX, like
Brat
everyone,
Summer.
like literally everybody.
Yeah.
And who else have I been listening to? Childish Gambino
He's always
released a
a
new
good one.
album,
I
and
like-
his Summary. Do you like that album?
I like him, yeah, because it's kind of his summer, but he's never. I think his music's overall very summery, without being like too in your face.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna drink a pina colada and listen
Exactly,
to Charles Gambino,
yeah.
but it has like a carefree feeling to it. That's really good.
So those would be my
Oh.
top picks for summer.
Oh.
For week this
This
week,
is my
right?
week, so let's get to my topic.
So what is your topic this week, Enzo? I've got
I have
literally
notes.
no idea.
I have notes and notes of
Okay.
my topic.
Is it more chitty chatty? Is it more serious?
It's a bit serious, but it's a lot of chitty chatty there. And I think it's something that you're familiar with. Not that you're familiar with because it happens to you necessarily, but I think it's a familiar topic.
Okay.
Like it's about yourself, Claire.
Okay.
No, I just want to talk, about the main character syndrome.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
So I have this topic for a while on my list because the thing is like it's been popping up a lot on my socials as well,
Yeah,
and
same.
there's also like this like main character energy. Which something that become really like funny and popular on social, so it's
Yeah.
kind of like connected to that. So I'll have some notes, definitions, what's by, what is good, psychologists, everyone. So let's see, let's dive into this topic because I want to also have your point of view on this, of course. This term is basically, it was popularized by TikTok, and now it became part of like the mainstream knowledge. Like a few years ago, we didn't talk about this basically. It's not like it's not yet like defined as a mental health condition or disorder, but somehow it's getting there. Like a lot of psychologists are talking about it, there being researches about it, and like it's also like a topic on therapy now. Like
So kind of like a negative thing.
it's a negative thing. It's like it's considered a syndrome, but it kind of, the name was given like by mainstream, by people talking about it on TikTok, but it's not a medical like thing yet, but it's getting there.
Okay.
When someone thinks they are the main character of their life, usually comes with a side of individuality, complex, quirky style, and self-centered point of view. There's many like definitions of it. There's also like another form of narcissism, which people think or they believe that they're main character of everything, and they believe that the opinions on what they think is correct or is what's important. For some people, they think like, yeah, whatever they believe, it's what it is, because they are if you are the main character of your life, only what you think matters, right? That's the point of it. So yeah, they basically they believe they can change. That's interesting about this. Like a lot of people, they think they can change others people like perspectives.
Okay.
Like something that this is very connected with the movies, and like when you have superheroes or the lead character of a movie, that they always can change everything. They can change the world, they can solve a situation, they can do this like 100%. So that's also, people apply this type of like way of expressing in their real life, which I found it really interesting. What do you think about like this main character syndrome?
It's funny because I always thought of it more as quite a positive thing, because I haven't seen it that much, but I've seen it occasionally, probably more on TikTok and Instagram, but in the term, but kind of in the way of like main character energy. I am the protagonist of my own story and I'm going to do what I want to do and not do what others want to do. So I always viewed it as more of like a positive, like self-empowered thing.
Yeah.
But now hearing about this,
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely like a touch of narcissism with
which
it.
which is actually, it's interesting because actually doctors, they say this is not the same as being a narcissist, and we need to be very clear about this, because like being like having this like idea of I'm the main character of everything, it's very based on like being very insecure and you want to like you want to attract attention as well, but it's not the same as being narcissistic because it comes from different like things. The thing is, like, normally when you have this, let's say, syndrome, like you always think like your narrative is the center of the story and you are the most important person in the room and blah blah blah, which, as you say, it may have like a positive connotation, which is like empowering, but there's like a line then to draw as well that is not normally, it's not happening always like that. Sometimes it's like it gets to like, let's say, the negative side of it.
Okay.
So yeah.
So what would be the negative of it? The negative would be that you're trying to persuade others to like see your point of view. Or...
So basically, like it can be really negative because when and like this is makes me think a lot. Like when you have like, again, this main character thing, you think your life is the center of everything and everyone else is a side character.
Okay, got you.
So you're basically very self-centered.
Yeah.
And you think like, your actions are the right ones.
Yeah.
The actions are the ones that matter.
And everything is revolving around you, and there's a kind of like less, it's a bit of like a lack of empathy in a way, you know, because
that's one of the like kind of characteristics of that, because you have like you basically think like every single other reaction or thought or whatever is not that important, and you make, and also it's like a way, people with this type of like characteristic, they make everything about themselves all the time, which is like why this is becoming like a thing, because it's like a topic that it went to mainstream to kind of be like, oh my god, empowering, but then actually it's really connected to being super self-centered.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah. How do you know if someone has the main syndrome?
Okay, main character syndrome.
Main character syndrome, which I found very interesting.
Okay.
So some of the things is like it's very, sometimes they're a bit delusional. So, you know, like maybe I'm thinking Delulu, literally Delulu. So when you think like, oh no, like, you know, when you think like things are that way because it happens to you, because whatever, that basically the Lulu type of person. People like, they have attention-seeking behaviors, like really dramatic behaviors as well, lack of empathy, which is what you mentioned, romanticizing your own problems as well, which I find it interesting. Acting in a way that's not authentic, just to portray something different.
Okay.
And I found this one interesting, like experiencing urges to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
So this is like a kind of like this, and it makes me think like, I wonder if it comes like maybe because you want to be this main character and you always want to follow whatever it's trendy. You try to rebrand yourself to match whatever is outside and to make it about yourself as well.
I think that it's kind of I think that there might be a little bit of or quite a lot maybe of avoidance going on with this personality type.
Interesting.
Because it's kind of like it's a lot of like disregarding your own behavior, right? And I think that there's another kind of term that it was, when you were talking, it was kind of reminding me of this whole thing about have you seen this like let them thing, which I think has been very big on social media. So that's kind of the concept of like,
I agree.
Don't try to persuade anybody to do anything else, just let it be, which I think is very healthy in a way, but I think that kind of psychology goes quite hand in hand with the main character energy, because I think it's like well, just let them do whatever they want to do, or I'm just doing what I want to do because like it's my life and I'm the main character, but not really looking at your own actions of what might be making something. So I find it a bit like a kind of shield. And it is Delulu, because it's again, it's like not really taken into consideration how you are acting. And I think what you say about the whole thing about kind of like maybe changing your identity, that once again is avoidance, because it's like, I mean, we all change our identity. Your identity is always growing and changing. But I think that when you really want to drastically change your identity, maybe it's because you're like, oh fuck, like let me just leave this, avoid this, and start something new.
Quite interesting.
And I think another thing about this is like, it doesn't sound like it leaves a lot of room. It sounds quite immature to me.
It has a bit of that, right?
It doesn't leave a lot of room for like,
feedback.
Feedback, and like, you might be wrong. It's I can't possibly be wrong because I'm the main character and my point of view is correct.
Which is kind of like, that's why it comes from like movies as well, because you know when you watch a movie, let's say like rom-com, and you know like the main character is always right,
totally,
and the whole plot is around how this person is right, whatever happens or not, and then at the end of the story it will be proven that this person was right, and that was the journey of it. So that's kind of what comes from this, because it's kind of like glorifying and making a hero something, which is that's what you do with yourself to kind of like, I guess, push through life and do things, right?
I think there are some positives to this, like everything. There are some positives of like,
where to draw the line.
Yeah, like difficult. If you are somebody who always puts others before yourself and you never really do what you want to do, because say you're living the life that you want your family, that you're living the life that your family wants you to live, for example, I think this kind of energy could be great, because it's like it's your life, you only have one life, be yourself, be the main character, have that main character energy. If you're using it to be like, I'm the main character, and I mean, I'm sure we're going to get onto this, but I'm literally, when you were talking about that, thinking of multiple people that I know, that I have known or whatever, who are like this. There's like no room for anything against your point. Yeah. That's probably where it's not super healthy.
Definitely. This made me think about something, because I mean, I do believe like I'm the main character of my life, but I never think about it like that way. So arrogant. I am. Everything revolves like about me. So but you know, there was this psychologist that was mentioning like, it's obvious that we are all of us, we are the main character of our own life. Like, it's your life, right? It's just about how you fit that with other people around you, and you don't think that your reality is the only one. You also need to think others are also living their main character thingy, you know, which is interesting. It led me think to like, obviously I think like, oh yeah, of course this is my life and I'm the main person, obviously I'm the main thing of my life, but I really never think in that way that I'm the only and the center of everything, because I do feel like I am who I am also because of my friends, or my family, or people, or things that I value around me. So for me, like, you are not like a side character of my life, which is part of this. Thank you. You feel validated. Yeah. So this syndrome is kind of like these people. They feel like the main character, and everything else are side characters of their life. So they're like on the sides, and only it's you. But you are you because you are formed by others, right? That's how it works. That's what I feel. Or that's how I feel. Yeah. I am who I am and what I am because I have like bits of everyone that I love that makes me as well what I am now. So I'm better thanks to you, Claire. This is what I wanted to say with this episode. No, so like, that's cute. It made me reflect on that. It's like, that's very strange, because I think I'm not gonna, me being a great main character, let's say, I need to have other people to support, main characters supporting me in a way.
Do you know what this is reminding me of? This is reminding me of, well, I'm bringing it back to two of our previous episodes. Number one is the low maintenance friendships. Ooh. Do you not find it interesting that this low maintenance friendship phenomenon is coming up at the same time as this main character energy type thing? And what they both are is this kind of like non-committal distance. It's distant in a way, and so maybe this is like a, dare I say it, like slightly younger generational thing. I don't know, but it came for me, from it TikTok, seems similar. So it makes sense. Yeah. Because also, like, this was connected of how like we're living in a really narcissistic society nowadays, and how like everything is about what we portray on social media, and how the music that we listen to is all about ourselves, and like everything right now. If you're not, we're formed enough to like know and like maybe dissect things, but when you're younger, you like don't have all those tools, right? So and it seems like right now everything in the world is very self-centered, which as you say, is good for like self-empowerment, until there's a point that you cross, and it's what you say, you start being like distant from everything because you want, I have my point of view and no one can reach or like break my point of view. Yeah, completely. And it's like that inability to kind of accept like another person's point of view, which is different. I think I found also very interesting in this, there's like a big example on pop culture of like a person, of a character. Actually, I think I know which one. is it Carrie in
Yes.
Sex and the City?
Oh my God.
It's totally.
That's crazy.
I knew
That's
it would
fucking
be.
crazy because I read like 4 different articles and they mention her.
Yeah.
They mention fucking Carrie for Sex and the City. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow. So basically, like, I mean, if you don't know Sex and the City, that's a really famous 90s 2000s series that came back again.
Yeah.
And there's a character called Carrie, which is the main character.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's like some of the descriptors that this character has is like she's popular, which is something like it's also very main. A lot of main character people with main character like syndrome, they're very popular, or they want to be popular, or they portray themselves as popular, like loved by groups of people. So you know, she's popular, she's self-centered, she's entitled. She needs to be the center of her friends' attention. She's the protagonist of her friends group, and her problems always comes first. So I found that really interesting. And this article, which it was actually written by a psychologist as well, it was talking about like raising the question of, am I the Carrie of my group? Which made me think like about that. And I want to give you like this so the therapist is called, by the way, Kate Rosenblatt. Kate, we always messed up surname because they're very difficult, I have to say. Like, it's not my name is super easy, but come on, guys. Anyway, Kate Rosenblatt and other experts also were in this article, but she's the main one. She gave like red flags about Carrie, and to know if you're the Carrie of your group.
No.
So number 1 red flag: everything is about you and your problems. Number 2, you frame yourself as your life is perfect, presenting your life through rose-colored lenses, like through social, for example, which we all do. She was mentioning this as well. We all do. It's not like to a degree, obviously. Number 3, you aren't good at taking criticism, which is
you're not good at taking criticism.
You're not good at that. We mentioned. And number 4, your life isn't as perfect as it seems. You try to. It's kind of like you try to
overcompensate.
Maybe? And you try to like validate your life through others. So again, your life is not as great, so you're showing it a different perspective of it. So can I get validation for others telling you, oh, your life looks so great, your life is amazing, your life is da. So you get that validation to make you believe that your life is great.
Okay.
So when you spot this type of things, that's like red flags for like know if you're the Carrie of your group. I think we change during life, and I think we always, when we're growing as well all the time, and we were obviously younger and we were less experienced, but have you ever felt like you were the Carrie of your group?
Well, I think that I've definitely I
am right now, actually, after listening to this.
No, I think that I definitely had a period where I was going through a very bad relationship breakup, let's say, where I was very self-involved. I can definitely say, which Carrie really is. Like, one of the things of Carrie is like, she's like, all her problems come back, everyone's problems come back to her, sort of thing. And I think I was like that at that moment, because I think I was so head fucked that all I could talk about was this problem, this person, and I didn't really have the emotional energy to take on my friend's problems. But I think I would I think I changed. I will argue. I think I definitely grew a lot from that, not only that experience, but also being in that, because I think I'm not naturally, and I think you're not either. I think I'm naturally more the one that everyone comes to for advice. Same with you, I think. But in that moment, I was like desperate, and I could only talk about that. I was like obsessed. So I think I was like Carrie. Yeah, like Carrie with Mr. Big, basically, like only talking about that, obsessive, and that's really boring, and wasn't a good moment for me. I wasn't being my like most high self. But that would be the only moment I could think of.
Interesting.
How about you?
I was trying to think about that. I think I've never suffered of that. Sorry, I think we all have moments that maybe we like tap into some of these things of being more self-centered or things like that. But I think I feel like normally I thrive like with knowing that my friends are good and getting that back. I don't know. I don't thrive on like this being like alone in an island, thinking like, oh, I'm doing great, this is my life, and I don't care whatever is happening around me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if I have this main character's syndrome thingy, I think I would be like, I wouldn't pay attention to what's happening in my surrounding, and that's something that's not natural to me. I think that's weird, and not to be like, oh my god, I'm better or anything. It's just not how, it could be also bad. It's not always good. Sometimes maybe we need to be a bit more selfish and self-centered, I guess.
What about like the aspect about social media and about
that's very
because your life looks your life looks really good and aesthetic from Instagram.
Which it is, guys. That's how I live every day of my life.
Are you worried about, like, say that you were going through, I mean, I think I already have the answer to this, but like if someone's like, oh my God, Enzo, your life looks so perfect. You're always traveling and you have this amazing boyfriend and all these friends and all like, and does that make you feel a certain kind of way?
That's an interesting one. I think I was, so because sometimes, I mean, we spoke about this like in private, but I think like sometimes it's like why we do what we do in social media, for example. And I think we all can have like a different meaning behind it. Like, for example, personally, I do it because I like to put pretty pictures there. I think what I share normally is not like big private bits of my life that are uncurated, because I don't care to share that. Like the uncurated or like real part of my life. Yeah. It's not really my thing to share, maybe because I'm a bit older, and I don't share like a casual video of you like eating is kind of shaky or whatever, because it's not my vibe. Yeah. I like to share like these moments that I know I took the camera, I thought about the angle, I thought what I was saying. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's like a I want to say a creative process behind it, but it's kind of like I put a bit of intention behind everything. And I really don't care about sharing like that, like raw
the harder bits of your life,
because I don't find that interesting for myself, while I do find it interesting to see from others, you know.
Interesting. But does it bother you that people might think your life is perfect?
Not really.
No,
not really. I mean, good for them if they think about it, you know. It's like, I hope they think I'm the main character of my life and they don't care. That's what I think and what I want them to believe. Not really. I never really think about it, and I think it's just something, it happens when you get older, because I'm realizing really like more later, I don't know why, that I don't check that much how many people are checking my stories, for example. And sometimes then after a few days or the next day, I'm like, oh, I didn't check. I wonder how many people saw the photo, you know, because I like the photo or like whatever, you know. It's always, obviously, social media is pure validation in a way. Totally. Like in a way or another, we always do to validate something for ourselves, or like to share something that we like, but obviously people looking at it will make you feel like, oh, that's cool, someone saw it. But I think getting older, like, I care less and less about it, and sometimes like, oh, I wonder how many people saw the stories, and probably are the same as always. I don't know. I have the same followers from forever, so it's like the same people that always look at my stories. That look, you know what I mean? And I think this is different story for us because we're not single. I think when we are single, I think this change. Because if we are dating someone, or we are like looking around, we're looking for it, we may try to do things different way, because then we want probably like validation or attention of that person that we want to like have sex with or whatever.
Exactly.
You know?
Of course.
What do you feel about it for your socials? Like,
I wouldn't say it worries me, but I definitely don't like the thought that people think my life is, I don't think about this that much, but
every single morning,
every single morning, like they think I'm perfect, but I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to portray that. But I also feel like it's not my problem if you think my life is perfect. Also, do you know what I mean? But I definitely would never want anyone to feel like, and I think I'm quite transparent on my Instagram, like I'm not talking and crying about everything, but I shared my egg freezing journey, which was difficult, and I tried to be very honest about that. I've spoken about my endometriosis, so I think I'm a bit more personal than you on Instagram.
It's true. I think I don't share a lot. Maybe I should share more.
But but yours is more like, you're talking about photography and it's more aesthetics and sort of thing. Like mine is a bit like, okay, let's, you know, maybe
lifestyle,
it's
a bit more about
definitely
yourself,
but I also don't care to share like I never shared breakups, because why, or anything it's really heavy. I would say that it's still quite curated, even though what I say about my endo and my egg freezing was authentic, it was curated, and I thought about it a lot and thought about how I was representing myself. But I never want anyone to think that my life is perfect. But I think we're hopefully at a stage now where we all know that what we're seeing is like the glossed version,
hopefully.
And if you're really, actually what I care about more now is my friends knowing, because you know every up and down, I know every up and down for you. That's more important to me than some random acquaintance who might be looking at my Instagram.
Definitely.
Kind of thing.
And I think if you put it from the other side, I think it's interesting, because I do feel sometimes, I don't know, and this, I need to reflect on this, like how many people that I follow, I want to feel they're the main character of their life. and how many of the others I really don't care about it, you know? Like, for example, if I see like a celebrity, if I see Charlie XCX, for example, talking about her, like her concept is very like main character energy. This is my life. I party. I'm amazing, blah, blah, blah. But that's good because I want to get from her. I don't really want to get from her, and that made me think. I don't want to get from her like she's feeling weak or sad or whatever about her life. I really don't care about her in particular to get that scoop of her life. So I'm fine with this, like, probably self-validating, like, obviously a superstar as well, type of like main character energy thing.
It's funny that you talk about that with people on social media and stuff that you follow. I got my pants in a bit of a twist about something really randomly. You know, when you get like unnecessarily like worked up about something that really does not bother you at all. Okay. So basically there's this Spanish influencer that my boyfriend follows. I think her boyfriend or husband is like a fitness Spanish influencer, and then she is like a cook, like a cookery person. Okay. You know,
cookery.
like
a cookery person. I love that terminology. Hi, I'm a cookery person.
It's like a food Instagram. So she has her food Instagram and he has his fitness Instagram. They're both like wildly successful, like millions of followers, and they had a baby. Okay. And the baby is called Enzo. How cute. Anyway,
he's blessed from day one.
I don't follow either of these people. So I don't know why I got so worked up about this. You can ask Jorge, like, I don't know why. But speaking about this and like about reality and everything like that. So she had baby Enzo. Me and my boyfriend were kind of following her pregnancy because she was like, she's really, they're both obviously really fit. And so she was like working out the whole time, doing weights, like super, but she was saying that she had a really good pregnancy. Everything was really easy. Like the little baby Enzo just like kind of like flew out of her. And then we were watching these stories of her. She was in the hospital after like feeding the baby. And she was like, yeah, like it was really good. Like everything was super easy. Like, yes, it's a little bit like heavy and like the pain is quite a lot, but it was just really good. And like, I can't complain. And I got really angry.
Why?
Because I was just like, I don't know why. I think it literally triggered me. Ooh. Because I was like, this is really unfair and my reaction is very unfair. But I was thinking, this is really unfair that she's showing like her pregnancy and childbirth and everything to be so easy and simple, and that's not the case for so many women. That is so unfair of me because that's probably the reality. I'm not entirely sure. I don't follow them, but I get the vibe that they're a little bit glossy. Completely. Like he's amazing and gorgeous and look at his amazing body. She's amazing and gorgeous and look at them. They're both like have this incredible, and the baby's so cute and everything like that. And I was just a bit like, obviously I know that I have a bit of a trigger around like childbirth and like pregnancy and all of that. But I just found it very like, if I was a woman who had had a baby recently and it had been really difficult and there'd been a complication, I think I would have felt really bad about myself seeing that. Yeah. But that's her reality. So what I'm trying to say is, with this long story, is I think I do appreciate some, especially with that stuff, I do appreciate, like I've got another example of an influencer who was super transparent. I mean, she's also stunning, amazing. She had very bad endometriosis. That's actually why I followed her. And then she's had 2 babies, and then she's just coming out talking about her postnatal depression with the second one. And I really appreciate that as well. So yeah, long way of saying I think I do appreciate the rawness sometimes.
I mean, that woman that you're talking about, definitely she has a main character energy, definitely, but that's her job probably. She needs to have it. Exactly. Which is when it comes handy to have that energy as well.
But in a way, are these people doing anything wrong?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think like it's difficult to charge people with responsibility of what they say, because at this point of life, I feel like everyone can be an influencer, and there are millions of people that are influencers. We're not in the times where maybe the influencers were like these big celebrities and we held them accountable for what they say, like Madonna, you know, like the Michael Jackson or whatever actors. Nowadays, like, honestly, everyone can have an influence in a certain group of people. So if I think nowadays it gets more and more about what you choose to follow and to unfollow, because I feel we all have access to say whatever. How can we regulate it? it's about your personal values. Like no one, I don't feel anyone can come and say like, I mean, you can come and say that's wrong. Obviously, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
But what's the metric to say if something is bad or not? Which I guess is our modern times.
Interesting. You made me think there. You made me think. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Is there anybody, without naming names, is there anybody in your life that you think has main character syndrome?
Apart from you, no. I think there's not many, because I think I really don't like that type of people. I feel like I don't really like the self-centered attitude too much. I think it's boring.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of like, I cannot deal with that. I do feel I have people in my life that sometimes they have that a bit. Tendencies.
Yeah.
But I do think like it comes from a place of maybe like needing self-validation, or feeling like maybe insecure,
yeah.
which is this is how, what you were saying at the beginning, to wrap this up, that's why there's a line between too much and too little of this main character syndrome of energy, because some people, they need it to thrive.
Totally.
And when you use it to thrive without affecting others, that's amazing, you know.
Yeah,
which is
definitely.
some of the conclusions I found online.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you can take, because there's positives to it. There's positives because there's self-affirmation, there's like empowerment, there's like extra energy to do things, believing like if I'm the main one, that means that I'm the priority, for example. If you get the right amount of this for your life, it can be perfect. And I know I have people in my life that I know they need a bit of that to kind of like push through them, because there's layers of it, or there's like, I don't know, there's a bit when you know, I mean, we're all very layered, and sometimes I'm sure, like, which is interesting, I guess we need to put that main character energy in some situation of our life to push through.
I think something that it can be really positive with is like, it's on me. It's on me. Because I think it can maybe help you to take personal responsibility in a way, because you're like, if I don't apply for that job, no one else is going to apply for that job. Of the temples. That's kind of the thing that I think where it can be great, you know, or like, I'm not going to meet somebody it being on the sofa in my house, so I need to get out there dating, you know, etc. Like, so I think it can be good in that way.
100%.
So if you can harness it, if you can harness the power
to it,
the main character syndrome.
One really interesting thing, and I was saying like one interesting thing, because it seems like when people have this syndrome or this really into this, they really go to like social media to share everything, to get the validation and to make them like other people think they're the main. If you are the main character, you're gonna be all the time there. You're gonna be at the party. You were doing this, and you were sharing a lot. That's why it's very connected with social media, like a celebrity, you know. But then one of the things we're saying, like, if you want to like improve this a bit of yourself, you need to go more a bit like audience free. Okay. So that means show less of your life to the digital audience and actually share with real people in your life. And why is this? I found this really interesting. So basically, when we do personal interactions, we release the hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin. And this hormone. And it's like this is actually like a bonding hormone. So that's why it's
when the baby comes out.
In us, we are releasing the hormone right now by our real human interaction. So when you publish your life on social media, the hormone that your body is releasing is dopamine.
Okay, the dopamine
which is the dopamine hit, which is the likes, is the attention, is the validation, and obviously dopamine is like a very addictive pathway type of hormone. That's why that's really interesting about like kind of like if you think you're maybe too into yourself or this is getting out of hand, you need to just go to real life, because you need a different type of hormones, because getting validation and feeling like you're the main character on social media and pushing them much, you're just creating more dopamine for yourself.
That's so interesting.
Instead of oxytocin.
I think when you were describing that, I actually really realized that I do know somebody like that.
Oh, wow.
Not completely related to myself, but like, and I think that, for that person, I think that, he is definitely would fall into that trap of the, it's true that I think it's that like not getting validation in the right way. I think you really explained it really well with the different types of hormones.
I find that really interesting.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
The hormone that we, even like that, like those little difference, how like sharing this here instead of sharing only in social, it can like change the perspective. So yeah, anyway,
what an interesting one.
Yeah, thank you, love, for your thoughts.
Reflect
a lot.
This.
And guys, please feel free to feel the main character of your life, but within reason.
Yeah.
Don't feel self-absorbed and self-centered. There are others, and I think like we become better main characters when we have people around us that we love, and it's really good for us. So
we don't live in a bubble.
We live in a bubble.
Island.
So
well, thank you. Very good topic.
Next time,
See you next week, guys.
Thank you, Claire. Bye. See ya.